So just in case some of you all don't know me, let me just let you know who I am. I am KatrinaMarie. I am your accountability dating coach. I am here to help you get out of your own way to help you have a successful relationship. The accountability part has a lot to do with you being the center of every relationship that you've had, not understanding maybe some of the changes that you need to make or the ways you need to see relationships in order to get those successful relationships. You letting down your boundaries or your guards to let somebody in. A lot of times, even when we're the victim, we still play a part in why we're getting the results that we're getting. So I am here to help you get out of your own way so that you can have a successful relationship. And I hope that you will join me on these series of conversations and topics of interest. The magazine, Love and Lifestyle Magazine. You also can catch my relationship conversations on It's Team Marie Radio Show every Saturday, featuring Fata every Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. on iHeartRadio and Hot 923. Look, I can't even talk at Hot 923. So I'm excited about this journey into not necessarily the new phase of my life, but the next phase of my life. I've been doing relationship coaching and dating and advocacy for a long time, and it's always been a passion, and this year it's become a ministry. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. You know, people always say that you shouldn't have expectations of people, right? That if you don't have any expectations, then you won't get hurt. If you don't expect things from people, then you will not get hurt. So the whole thing is, don't expect things from people. You won't get hurt and you won't get disappointed. Well, I actually feel like this is a cop-out. I think this is an excuse to allow people to underperform in whatever position or title they have taken, right? I think we use that as a blocker to stop ourselves from getting hurt. And I do not believe in that saying that you shouldn't have expectations from people. The only people and the only things I think you should not have expectations from is two general things. One, from people who have not chosen a title or position. So if a person has not said, hey, I'm the boss, or I'm your man, I'm your woman, I'm your husband, I'm your wife, I'm a pastor, I'm a preacher. If they haven't said any of those things, if they have not proclaimed the position, then there's no expectation of that person in that position because they have not chosen that position. When a person chooses a position, there's some expectations that come with taking a position. So if they haven't chosen it, then you can't have expectation of that person no matter what they're acting as or what they're acting in, right? No matter if they're acting like your man, no matter if they're acting like they're the head, no matter if they're acting like they're the boss, if they haven't chosen that position, they haven't been given that position, you can't have any level of expectations. The other place is if there's no commitment. If a person has not committed to that thing, to performing in that thing or performing in that role or taking any level of responsibility of you or it or that or anything, if they have not chosen a level of commitment, then you cannot have a level of expectations because you can only commit to something that you have decided to perform the role in. You only can commit to something that you have decided to perform the role in. Other than that, yes, you should have expectations. I understand you don't want to be hurt. I understand you don't want to be disappointed. And I understand that it's easier to expect people not to do something. So if they do, then you're happy. And if they don't, you expected it. I think what we ought to say, instead of saying there should be no level of expectation, what we should say, there should be no expectation of perfection in that role. And then that way, even when they take on the role, yes, there's something that they should be doing in that role. But if they happen to mess up, it's okay. We'll extend grace. But there's also a level of correction or redirection that they need to make in order to let us to be confident for them being in that position. There is expectation that should be had from anything. So if you have a husband, a wife, a job position, you've taken on the head of something, a pastor, even in your job, if you become a doctor or lawyer, an account executive, if you become a property manager, whatever position that you take, there's a level of expectation. So when it comes to dating, you guys, there should not be any different. If somebody takes a position in your life, there should be levels of expectation that you have for them, right? Now, the levels are definitely going to depend on the position that they've taken on. In dating, there is no level of expectation. I just don't believe it, other than the person should be exactly who they are, right? Because dating is actually the activity that you do in order to discover who somebody is and to connect and reconnect with the person. That is why dating is important, not only in getting to know somebody, but once you've garnered a relationship, you should always be dating. You should always be gathering data. You should always be creating intimacy. You should always be trying to find out how you can continue to be close to this person or learn this person so that you can do the things that you need to do to execute and have a successful relationship, right? So I say that to say that I think when we get in these relationships that we use the phrase of we shouldn't have any expectations in order to protect ourselves. We shouldn't have to protect ourselves from people who have chosen a position. When people take a job, they get fired if they do not perform to the level of expectation. Do they get immediately fired? That's not true. That's not necessarily true. They do give you opportunities of correction, which is, again, is what you should do with people. Take opportunities to give them correction, allow correction and redirection. But if that person continues to do the same thing, then you have to let them go. You got to fire them. So don't set yourself up like there should be no expectations just because you don't want to be hurt. Don't even give them the opportunity to feel like that there should be no level of expectation from them. When you take on a position in somebody's life, then you have to perform to that position that you took on, that you committed to, that you said you would do. And I expect you, right, to actually perform in those ways, in those manners, in those things. Do I expect you to be perfect? Absolutely not. But I do expect you to do the things that come along with the position that you chose to take. And what we have to do is stop allowing ourselves to excuse people for not being what they should be, or excuse people for not doing what they should do, or not coming through the way that they should. Again, I'm not saying perfection, but expectation. If you come in my life and you said, I'm here to be your husband, I'm here to be your guy, I'm here, whatever you're saying. And there's levels to that, because you could be here to say we're courting. Well, if we're courting, there's levels to even courting. Consistency, showing up, showing me who you are, letting me know that I can depend on you to a certain degree, showing me the characteristics that it would take to be a good husband. Because if you're in my space trying to let me know that you can be a good husband, and there's things I expect to see out of what comes with that position. Now, I do not expect you to perform at the level of a husband, right? And we shouldn't do that. And that's where we get things wrong. And we start talking about, well, we shouldn't have expectations. We also shouldn't have entitlement either. There's no way that I should have you in the position of someone that I'm courting and intentional with and expect you to perform at the level of a husband, because that's not so. And I wouldn't do so. But that's the same reverse. You can't have me in the position of someone that you're just dating and expect me to perform at the level of a wife. I'm going to have characteristics of who I am. I don't have to tap dance and perform to show you that I'm a wife, and you don't have to tap dance to show me and perform to show me that you're a husband. But there's going to be characteristics that's going to show up to let me know that you are a person that I would take on in my life as a husband, and that I am the type of person that you would take on to show up as your wife. But there's no performance there, right? There's nothing that I have to do extra. You know, there's no thing where people be like, well, how I know you can be a good wife and how I know you can be a good husband, based on the character that it takes to be a good wife and be a good husband. And oftentimes those are things of nurturing, caring, covering, and that you can see those actions in the way that they deal with their loved ones and the people that they care about, in the way that they do their jobs. You can see those actions show up and how they do their everyday life. You can see those actions. I don't have to come and cook you meals every day and wash your clothes every day. I don't have to do that. But what you will see is me cooking meals for my family, my children, and washing my own clothes and keeping my own house clean, if those are the things you're looking for, or being responsible and resourceful, if that's what you're looking for, or taking care of my money and my business, if that's what you're looking for. But I don't have to perform those levels of activities for you, right, in order to show you that I'm a good wife, and that's vice versa. Neither does a man have to perform those activities for a woman to show her that he's a good husband. It just has to show up in the characteristics of what a good husband is to you. And that can be very specific or in general, right? So nobody has to go do those things. So when you think that that expectation should happen, that's not expectation. That's a level of entitlement. But what I do expect that when you start to take on those things for me, or you become that to me and I could become that to you, that I perform those things and do those things that come along with that position. And we don't always do that for one, or better yet, we don't expect the person to do that, right? Or when they do that, or when they don't do it, we'll use the excuse, well, you shouldn't have all these expectations. No, absolutely, I should have expectations, depending on the level of where you're performing. So, right, as we're dating, no. As we're courting, there's a little bit more. As we become engaged, there's a little bit more. And when you become my husband, I become your wife, there's a little bit more. Same thing as when you become a doctor. When you become a doctor, there's a level that when you're doing your residency, that you have a level. Like when you're in college, there's a level. When you have a residency, there's another level. When you become a full-fledged doctor, there's another level. There's still expectations of things based on the level of where you are, that we should see you perform and do the things that are expected in that position. So when people say that you're expecting too much, don't allow people to say that you're expecting too much based on the position that they've taken in your space. You expect me to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Well, does that come with the position that you chose? And if that comes with the position that you chose, then yes, I absolutely have some expectations, a level of expectation for you to perform at that position that you chose. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. We should allow grace for people, absolutely. But should we just let people use it as an excuse? Absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. So I want people to not get caught up in this idea of thinking that there should be no level of expectation. And if you have expectations, you won't, if you don't have any expectations, you won't be disappointed. That's actually taking away your standards, right? And your boundaries. If I don't expect you to do things within these standards and these boundaries, I'm just going to let you do whatever. No, that's not how that goes. That's absolutely not how that goes. So don't let people use that statement to you, right, with saying you expect too much. Well, you can say, well, let's talk about what comes with the position that you chose, right? You chose to be ABC, XYZ. You chose to do ABC, XYZ. Because you didn't do it, I shouldn't expect you to do it? No, you chose to do that. So if you chose to do that, then yes, I expect a level of performance in that area, or I expect a level of for you to do certain things in that area. I do. So stop letting people say that you should have no level of expectations. You absolutely should. You just shouldn't have a level of entitlement. And sometimes that's what we have. Instead of expectations, we have a level of entitlement. We think that you owe us a certain amount of things based because you're in our space. And that's not true. That's absolutely not true. Just because a person is in your space does not mean they owe you certain amounts of things because they're in your space. They don't. People feel like they're entitled to you a whole lot in this day and time just because you're occupying the space, you're occupying some time or whatever. They're not entitled to anything. People are not entitled to anything, right? But you still should have a level of expectation. And I do expect people to do what they said that they were going to do, be who they say they were going to be, and perform to the level that they said they were going to perform if they chose to take on a position in my life, right, to do so. The difference is, or the clarifying point is, what are the conditions? What are the terms of conditions, right? What are those things that you see should happen in the position that you take on? And if we both have discussed and we understand what comes with that position, then yes, I expect you to do it just the same way you expect me to do it. Okay? So let's not let people set us up and say, hey, you're expecting too much. Well, hey, this is what you took on and this is what you chose. So let's talk about it. Can you do it or can't you do it? It's all about the capability. And the capability is one of the things that I talk about when it comes to relationship. Are you capable of being what a person needs you to be? That goes back to the expectations. Are you capable of being what the person who you're interested in needs you to be? It goes back to another thing when we involve our love languages. If I tell you I need words of affirmation and you tell me you're not good with words, then two things here. Are you going to try to get better with words and start to use those words? Because I need words of affirmation. Are you going to become expressive? Because I need words of affirmation. That's my love language. Because if you can, and if it's my love language, it's something I need, I choose to bow out because it's something that I need, right? And so people will be like, you mean you would break up with somebody or you stop seeing somebody because they didn't know how to be expressive in their words? Yes, especially if it's something that I need, because remember, what we need is what we need, and it's what feeds us and helps us to become, not only become, but continue to be and grow into the person who we are. Our love languages feed us, right? They give us life. They give us the ability to continue to be who we are. So if somebody needs hug, touch, and affection, and I don't hug, touch, and give them affection, and I chose to be with them, then they have every right to dismiss me as a partner prior to marriage now. To dismiss me as a partner, because first of all, I say prior to marriage because you don't choose me if you already know I'm not doing that, okay? If you choose me and we get married, I'm not doing that, then you're kind of taking on, you decided to deprive yourself of something that you needed just to be with me, and I don't think you should do that. But if you told me that you need to be touched, you need to be loved, you need to be hugged, and I don't have the capability to do that, and I've chosen not to do that, then at that point, it is cool for you to be like, you're not the one for me because I need a thing, right? We don't have to deprive ourselves of the things that we need in our love languages just to be with somebody, because there's somebody out there who will give you the love language that you need or give you the love that you need and is capable of doing so. And matter of fact, if they're not capable of doing so, if they care about you enough, they will learn how to do those things that you need in order to be filled and fulfilled, right? And sometimes we have to fake it till we make it, right? I'm not touchy-feely all the time, right? I could sometimes care less. As much as I love affection, I could care less. But if I have a partner that's touchy-feely, I'm going to become touchy-feely. I'm going to be touchy-feely because my partner needs that to thrive and become, and to thrive into the person that they are. All right. So let's learn how to be good partners and be capable of the things that we chose to do or that we chose to be with. That's why these conversations and that's why vetting is so important in dating. You're getting to know somebody and understanding what they expect in relationships or what they expect from a person in their life. And yes, their expectations could be unrealistic, right? But you don't take it on if you know that their expectations are unrealistic. You don't take the job knowing that you don't want to do the work or perform the task, and you get in a job and be bad because you got fired because when you took the job, you said you could do it and you didn't stand up to your level of expectation. Okay. So let's learn to be fair when it comes to dealing with people or dealing with potential mates, right? Let's learn to be fair when it comes to dealing with our mate. Let's learn to be fair when it comes to choosing a mate. Nobody's expectations or needs are too much, right? It just may be too much for you, right? And if it's too much for you, don't take it on. Nobody's job position, nobody's, whatever they're asking, that's not too much. It's what they're asking. Too much is relevant. It just depends on the person. It could be too much for one person, but not enough for another, right? So it's relevant. So we can't say that that's too much. What we can say is, hey, I'm not really up for performing at this level of what you need. I may not be the right person for you. Or if you choose to stay and do that and you don't perform at the level that they expected, that you talked about and you knew the job position had or being with that person had, and they let you go, you don't get to get on a podcast and say, women need too much. No. The woman that you chose to be with had a need and you couldn't fulfill it. So it's not too much. Okay. Same thing. You say that same thing with fellas. When a woman said need too much, they do too much. No. It's not that they do too much. They told you what they needed. You chose to get in the position anyway. You couldn't fulfill the position. You couldn't fulfill the need. Now you're on a podcast talking about men need too much, women need too much, they ain't this, they ain't that. No. So we need to think very fair when it comes to making decisions about being with people. The level of expectation is valid. There is a level of expectation. The only thing is, can you or are you capable of performing at that level of expectation? Do you have it in you? Do you even want to? If you don't Don't take the job. Don't take the job. Don't be with the girl. Don't be with the guy. You can't get with the guy who says he needs to be kissed all the time and then get mad when he wants to kiss all the time. He told you that, right? He needs to touch. He wants to smack ass. He wants to do whatever all the time. You said, cool. You got with him based on he got money, he got this, he doing that. But you could, you feel like you can push what he needs away. And then when he asks for it, you don't give it to him. That's a problem. He expects too much. No, he expected exactly what he told you he was going to need. You just weren't capable of fulfilling the expectation. That's the difference. That's the difference. So know if you are capable of fulfilling the expectation of the person that you're trying to date, because nobody expects too much. It just may be too much for you. All right. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure that you share this with someone. Talk about the conversation. If you have anything that you want to talk to me about, go ahead and go to my DM or go to dategreat.net. Leave me a message. We can do a consultation for you for free, which is only free up until April the 1st. But I'm absolutely willing to help you get the relationship you want by being the accountable person that you need to be. All right. And that's what we're here about. We're here to not make you, but hope that to help guide you to look into the mirror and look at yourself and see why you could possibly be the reason why you're not getting the relationships you want. And to do this, you have to be a person with no ego and no pride and not able to be told anything or redirected because there's something going on for the reason why you're not getting a relationship that you're wanting. And it ain't everybody, right? You're the common denominator. So it can't be every man. It can't be every woman. So somewhere it has something to do with you. So let's look at that. Let's talk about that and figure out why you're not getting a relationship you want so we can coach you into the relationship that you desire. Okay? I love you guys. Again, follow me at KatrinaMarie on Instagram. Of course, right here, KatrinaMarie Curtis on Facebook. You also can go to dategreat.net. Leave me a message. Leave me a message. Book a consultation. Let's have the conversation. But I am your girl, KatrinaMarie. I'm here to help you get the relationship that you desire, but help you look in the mirror and hopefully get a different reflection. Make sure you go to loveandlifestyle.com and check out all the articles, and then make sure you pick up the print wherever your print is available, usually on the website. I love you to the moon, and good night, you guys. Have an amazing night. Bye.